stumbling trying to explain what LRE means or the accommodations for state testing. I'm going to share 3 tips that all involve writing language in a parent-friendly way, which to me is the first step in explaining things in a way that everyone understands. Hey, Jenny Ponzuic here. This is part 5 in a 6-part series about the IEP process. Today, I want to chat about explaining the IEP pages. We discussed evaluation results in part 1 and 2 of this series, and now I want to share some tips for discussing the pages of the IEP. Whoever is facilitating the IEP meeting is typically also explaining the different pages of the IEP document. Some team members are able to explain these pages in a masterful manner, with appropriate pacing and family-friendly language. Others, well, you might have been in some meetings with less than ideal situations. I know I have been in those meetings. You are almost like cringing inside while someone who has the best intentions in the world is just stumbling, trying to explain what LRE means or the accommodations for state testing. I'm going to share 3 tips that all involve writing language in a parent-friendly way, which to me is the first step in explaining things in a way that everyone understands. IEP meetings can be stressful, and having family-friendly language in your draft documents can be useful when explaining the pages because you can use the words right on the page. So tip number 1, decrease your use of jargon when you can. There are many acronyms and terms we use in the field of special education that may not be as familiar to others. One tip for making the verbal explanation as clear as possible is for the written document to be clear. Write out acronyms. If you must use jargon, ensure that it is fully explained in writing. For example, a present level in reading may state something like, Jenny scored GE of 4.2 on the iReady reading assessment. She is able to respond to literal questions, but she struggles with inferential comprehension. That's a lot of jargon. This could be written as, on assessment of her reading comprehension, she scored similarly to a student in the early part of 4th grade. She easily responds to questions found in the text, such as who the story is about and where the story takes place. However, she struggles when she has to imply an answer, such as what might happen next in the story. Tip number 2, share your draft language with someone outside of special education. Sometimes it can be difficult to know when you may need to improve your family friendliness as you are using language that you are very familiar with. One easy way to check this is to ask someone who does not attend IEP meetings on a regular basis for feedback. You may start with someone on campus, such as a general education teacher. Ask them for a quick moment and have them read your sample language. Check to see what their feedback is on how parent-friendly the language is. Or find someone outside of the field of special education, such as a friend or a significant other. Last tip, tip number 3, start small. Some people find it challenging to change how they write information. Start small, choosing one IEP page or one part of one IEP page to start with. Try out a few things and ask for feedback before expanding to another page. You can check out my handout that summarizes the information from this video, and I will see you soon in part 6 of this series, our last in this 6-part series. That concludes another episode of the Prepared School Psych podcast, and I hope today's discussion equipped you not just with knowledge, but also the confidence to take action. Remember, every conversation we have and every resource we share builds a bridge towards a more inclusive and empowering learning landscape for our students. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more insightful conversations and resources to support your journey. Share this podcast with colleagues. We would love it if you would also rate and review the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder, everyone, the information and advice provided in this podcast are for guidance purposes only, and all listeners are required to follow both federal and state law and their own school district guidelines and policies. Thank you.